I spent 6 years studying medicine, watched many of my colleagues I started with become doctors as I got left behind. For a long time, I genuinely believed I'd wasted some of the most important years of my life. Today, I'm not so sure, because what if these experiences we regret most end up teaching us the lessons we need most? If you're new here, my name's Ahmed, and this channel is called Beyond Almost. It's for people whose lives haven't gone quite according to plan, people who feel behind, and those who've experienced setbacks and are trying to rebuild. And today I want to share 5 lessons that came from what I once considered one of the biggest mistakes of my life. So whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, or someone changing careers, or just someone whose life hasn't gone quite according to plan, I hope at least one of these lessons helps you out. Let's dive into it. Lesson number 1, you are not your title. When I started medical school, I didn't just see medicine as a career. I saw it as my future. It was who I was going to become. When people asked me what I did, I studied medicine. When people asked what my plans were, I was going to become a doctor. Everything felt mapped out. And I think this is something a lot of ambitious people do. We attach our identity to a destination. It may be a title, a job, a business, and in my case, a qualification. And we quietly convince ourselves that if we don't reach that destination, we've somehow failed. When medicine didn't work out, I wasn't just disappointed, I felt lost. Because I wasn't grieving a career, I was grieving an identity. And looking back now, one of the most important lessons I've learned is this. Your title is what you do. It is not who you are. Because titles change, jobs change, businesses succeed and fail. If your entire self-worth is attached to one outcome, every setback becomes personal, and that's a very dangerous way to live. Lesson 2, nothing is wasted. For years, I genuinely believed I wasted 6 years of my life, plus doing a year of masters in plastic surgery, and that is a long time in education, especially when you're young. I remember thinking, what was the point of all those lectures, all those exams and placements, all those years of sleepless and stressful nights? But now I see those years very differently, because although I didn't get the outcome I wanted, I still got something incredibly valuable. I learned discipline, I learned resilience, how to work under pressure, how to communicate with others, how to solve problems, and so on. More importantly, I learned how to keep going when things get difficult. And what's interesting is that I still use those skills every day in the businesses I run. So yes, the destination changed, but the journey still mattered. And that's something I wish more people understood. Just because something doesn't lead to where you expected doesn't mean it was wasted. Sometimes the lesson is more valuable than the outcome, and it took me many years to grasp this concept, believe me. Lesson number 3, comparison will destroy your confidence. This was probably the hardest lesson because life doesn't stop when you're struggling. Everyone else keeps moving. Colleagues graduate, people get promoted and build careers, friends get married, and naturally you compare yourself. I certainly did. I watched people I started medical school with become doctors. Many are now GPs and senior hospital consultants, and for a long time I felt left behind. I kept asking myself, why them? Why not me? What did I do wrong? But eventually I realized I was asking the wrong questions, because comparison assumes everyone is running the same race, and that is not the case. Everyone has a different journey. We experience different challenges, different timelines, and we have different priorities. Feeling behind is often a comparison problem. It's not a life problem. And the moment I stopped measuring my life against somebody else's timeline, I started finding peace. Because success is personal. You have to define it for yourself and not borrow someone else's definition. Lesson number 4, starting again is not starting from zero. One thing I hated hearing most was, you'll be fine, you'll just have to start again. Because it sounded like I was right back at the beginning, back to my A-levels, back to zero, and it did feel like that at times. But that's not true. When you've spent years working towards something, you don't lose everything. You keep the lessons, you keep the skills, you maintain the experience, and the maturity comes with you. After my setback, I began to explore different paths. Eventually, I felt research and academics wasn't something I was interested in, and I ended up dropping out of my PhD program, moving into healthcare businesses. And looking back now, I realized I was not starting from zero. I was starting from a massive experience and knowledge that I'd gained over time. Along with the healthcare insight I'd built over time, all of it came with me and was key to my success in my businesses. And I'll talk much more about my businesses in the future, so do subscribe. And that's true for anyone watching this. If you've had to start again, remember this. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from an experience. And that's one of the most valuable things you can have. Lesson 5, your biggest setback can become your biggest advantage. This is the lesson that took me the longest to learn. For years, I looked at not becoming a doctor as evidence that I had failed. Now I see it differently. That setback shaped me. It taught me humility and empathy, and it taught me how to rebuild and gave me the strength to do it. It certainly forced me to ask deeper questions about success. Without the experience, I genuinely don't think I would be the same person today. I don't think I would have had the perspective I have. Sometimes the thing that feels like the end of the story becomes the beginning of a completely different one. Not a worse story, just a different one, and often more meaningful. Just to close off the video, the reason why I created Beyond Almost is because I know there are people out there watching who are carrying their own version of an almost story. You might have almost got your dream job, you might have almost passed the finals exams, or maybe you almost managed to build a successful business and it didn't quite work out like you had planned. And because it was so close, it hurts. I understand. I've lived it, believe me. But what I've learned is this. Almost is not a failure. Almost is not the end. In fact, you almost achieving something, but falling short is simply a chapter in your life. And chapters end, new ones begin. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Your life does not have to follow the original plan to become meaningful. You are not defined by the thing that didn't happen. You are defined by what you do next. If this resonated with you, subscribe and turn on your notification as I post once a week to share my academic and business skill sets with you guys to help you on your journeys to success. And if you've ever had to start again, comment below, I'm starting again. I would love to see the response from you viewers, and I'll see you in the next video.